who's actually going to get the most out of a 24-port 10 GBE PoE switch? Who should walk away and stick with a simpler gigabit unmanaged box? And does the price tag make sense for the average small business buyer? Those are the questions that keep most people up at night when they're staring at the spec sheet for the Ubiquiti USW-Pro-XG-24-PoE. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you've ever tried to power a mix of Wi-Fi access points, surveillance cameras, and VoIP phones off a single switch, you know the hesitation. A bad choice can mean you're constantly swapping power adapters, dealing with flickering cameras, or watching your network choke on traffic. The USW-Pro-XG-24-PoE sits in the sweet spot between just another gigabit switch and full-blown data center gear, which makes the decision feel a lot less risky if you understand what you're actually buying. Let's start with the category itself. In the world of managed switches, the biggest pain points are power budgeting, bandwidth bottlenecks, and the ability to see what's happening at a glance. This is where a Pro-Class 10 GBE switch with PoE++ can save you time and money. It's not a hobbyist's gadget, it's built for environments where you need to keep a dozen devices powered and moving data at high speed without a rack of separate power injectors and uplink switches. So, who should consider the USW-Pro-XG-24-PoE? If you run a small office or a branch office with a handful of high-density Wi-Fi 6 access points, you'll appreciate the 10 GBE uplink that prevents the dreaded uplink saturation when dozens of clients are streaming video. If you're setting up a boutique hotel with a wall of IP cameras, the PoE++ per port wattage means you can power even the most power-hungry PTZ cameras directly from the switch, eliminating a maze of power cords. IT consultants who need a single device that can act as both a power hub and a high-capacity backbone will also find the form factor convenient for rack mounting in tight spaces. In short, any deployment that mixes heavy PoE demand with a need for 10 gigabits per second backhaul will feel right at home. On the flip side, you should skip this switch if your network looks more like a home office with a couple of laptops and maybe a single wireless router. The price per port is considerably higher than a plain gigabit switch, and you'll be paying for capabilities you'll never tap. Likewise, if you're only ever going to run a handful of low-power devices, say, a few VoIP phones and a couple of basic access points, there are cheaper PoE+ options that will do the job without the extra heat and power draw. And if you're a DIY enthusiast who doesn't want to dive into Unify's controller software, the learning curve might feel steep. Now, let's talk practical strengths. The first thing you notice after plugging it in is the LCM display on the front panel. It's a small LCD that shows you port status, PoE consumption, and link speed at a glance. In a busy server room, that quick visual check can save you a few minutes of logging into the controller just to verify why a camera went dark. The maximum PoE output per port is another game changer. With PoE++ support, you can deliver up to 60 W to a single device, which is enough for most PTZ cameras, high-end Wi-Fi APs, and even small edge compute boxes. That means you can power a 24-camera surveillance system without ever needing a separate power distribution unit. Bandwidth-wise, the 10 GBE forwarding rate eliminates the classic uplink choke point you get when you try to push gigabit traffic from multiple devices through a single 1 GBE uplink. In a real-world scenario, imagine a retail store with dozens of high-resolution cameras streaming 4K footage. The switch can aggregate that traffic and push it out through a 10 GBE fiber or copper uplink to your NVR without dropping frames. The forwarding rate also helps during firmware upgrades. You can push a new Unify OS image to all ports simultaneously without slowing down the rest of your network. But there are hidden trade-offs you need to factor in. The power budget is generous per port, but the total switch power budget is finite. If you try to max out every port with 60 W devices, you'll hit the limit and the switch will start throt.